primordial interaction of magneto-reluctance and capacitive directance. The original machine had a base plate of prefamulated amulite surmounted by a malleable logarithmic casing in such a way that the two spurving bearings were in a direct line with a panametric fan. The latter consisted simply of 6 hydrocaustic Marsal vanes, so fitted to the ambivation lunar wane shaft.
There's nothing to debunk. It debunks itself. When they can't offer you practicality and a definition of what it is they're actually claiming. It's a science of sophism. It's a science of cartoons. It's a science of how to animate things using crayons and wee drawings, but what they're claiming is no science because they can't show it practically. It's no science. It's a science of deception. 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 Is it fucking that? No. It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Right? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Is it fucking that? No. It's a science of deception. 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 Science of deception. Is it fucking that?
It was of this normal lotus or delta type placed in panendermic semi-boloid slots of the stator, every 7th conductor being connected by a non-reversible.
It's a science of sophism. It's a science of cartoons. Right? It's a science of how to animate things using crayons and wee drawings, but what they're claiming is no science because they can't show it practically. It's no science. It's a science of deception. 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 Is it fucking that? No. It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Right? It's a science of deception. It's a science of deception. Is it fucking that? No.
It may also be employed in conjunction with a drawn reciprocation ding alarm to reduce sinusoidal repleneration.
Gravitoids.
It's a science of deception.
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 Hello there. We all seem to be working okay this evening. It's a good start. How are we all people? Alright? I'll come to the chat box in a wee minute. So, just a wee, as usual, introduction. I always feel the need for that for anybody that might come across this for the first time. And you'll be asking yourself questions, you know, flat earth and whatever else. You probably have
preconceived ideas of what flat earth means and who I am, or anybody that has something like flat level earth in their title. As I've said so many times before, it's only because it was a trending, term, and it's surrounded by so much propaganda and infiltration, with people muddying the waters and trying to protect invested interests. So, I knew it was a trending term, but this, for me, what to encourage you as the individual is to start questioning the assumptions you hold to be true in regards to where you think you are, the place that you call home, Earth, and this idea, this image you have in your mind that you're on the exterior of a ball, a sphere, floating about in a vacuum. Okay, so the first thing I would say to you is that you have to understand a couple of things. I use the word understand, but I really should say comprehend. That what you should first do is separate the two factors. Never mind the institutions and the authorities that have told you about where you are and what reality is. What you should really be doing is separating first and foremost that there's a physicality to your experience, that being that you're in a physical body, you experience a physical world, and there's a cause and effect relationship between physical material matter. So what you have to understand and comprehend is that you have to separate that physical experience from the linguistic, descriptor explanations that have been brought about by man, trying to explain reality by use of language. Language does not define anything physical. It does not give rise or create anything physical. It is merely human beings making noises to try and communicate with each other. Okay? So if you can do that first and foremost, then you should start to realise when I'm talking about practicality, physics, I'm talking about the world of substance, physicality, and any human being that makes any claim to me about physicality is duty bound to produce practical references. That being, they must supply the physicality, the substance, and demonstrations of the behaviours that they're professing to know or claim. Okay? And also within this experience of physicality, there's another separation that has to happen. The way you experience the world in 3 dimensions, how you move around the world and objects in 3 dimensions, is a separate and different geometry from how you perceive it through your vision. Okay? Now the globular earth plays a lot upon human vision, how we perceive the world with our eyes. It is a separate entity to how the world actually is. The world that we move around in 3 dimensions is Euclidean. The world that you perceive it through your vision is non-Euclidean. A simple wee example for you is a look along 2 parallel lines, like a train track, or your street. You can go outside, check this for yourself. What you'll notice is the parallel lines appear to converge at a point, and anything on those lines would appear to converge at that point and things get smaller. Same with the sky and the floor rises up, the sky comes downwards. And if I was to draw how your vision works in 360 degrees, I would be drawing an oblate sphere with you at the centre. So the floor's rising up, sky's coming down. And anything within that area, like parallel lines, any way you look, appear to converge. So there's a total different geometry to the physical world and the way you see the world. Okay? So this is where you start to uncover the real issues, because the globular earth and heliocentrism is totally absurd and contrary to what we know in actual physics. Now, the globular earth, these concepts like the globular earth, heliocentrism, Big Bang cosmology are conceptual, which is why it's not in tangible physics, it's theoretical physics, it's imaginative physics. So we know in reality standing bodies of water, liquids find their own level, they will take the shape of any container, it will form a free surface, a horizontal plane, which is equal in elevation relative to any starting point you go from upon that surface, the elevation will be the same in any given direction. That's a demonstrable fact of your reality. Now when you enter into the realms of the globular earth concept, they will start trying to tell you and redefine terms like level, meaning that it's curved, and they have all sorts of word salads to, you know, try and prop up this, you know, conceptual image that they have. And they'll start invoking terms like gravity and yada yada. It's pretty much just religious language. When we're talking about physical reality and we're in the realms of physics, we need practical physical demonstration. You know, when you start to uncover it, you see that what we test and what we, you know, play with practically within the reference frame of Earth is always contrary to what they tell you the macro is. So we have all these, you know, like books, literature, like Newton and the laws of motion, when we talk about inertia and how things remain at rest or they remain in uniform straight line motion unless acted upon by an external force. You know, these things are demonstrable within our reality, or physical reality. But then you have to look at things like the Big Bang concept and this globular earth and planetoids within a vacuum. And you don't have uniform straight line motion. You have elliptical motions, circular motions, spinning, gyrating, all this stuff. These types of things would require a constant input of energy, some power to keep them going in circular directions, circular motions. Not only that, in order for them to go around each other and to remain, you know, relative in their distance to each other, you would have to tether them somehow. That's what we know in reality. Just as I said a minute ago in regards to the laws of motion, things will continue uniform in straight lines unless acted upon by an external force. Now again, when we talk about things like force, and we hear terms like gravity, and we hear language being utilised like pulling forces, these things are absolutely ridiculous. Acceleration, motion require pressure. Things can only move when something presses upon something else. Pull is only a descriptor for a direction, like bringing something closer to yourself. When I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about physics again. What is the physicality? What are the mechanical, physical interactions between bodies? Now, when we're talking about motion and acceleration and things of the like, we require pressure. So you can either apply pressure or you can relieve pressure, taking things out of their equilibrium or their inertia. Now again, inertia is a term that's used to describe something at rest or something moving uniformly. Anyhow, forget where I was going. Brain fart. So things will move uniformly, straight lines. This model, this concept that they've offered you, it's not about that. And again, look, we can have things moving in circular paths, but what we can't allow for is when they start telling you that it's created, this is happening by way of magic, where nothing's tethered to something else. There is no mechanical, physical interactions between bodies. We talk about, gravity was the thing I was talking about. So they tell you that things are pulled towards the earth. These things are demonstrably false and preposterous. I can demonstrate it to you over and over again. You can demonstrate it to yourself. Language has been utilised and given you false conceptions of what people are talking about and what your interpretation of reality may be. So they get away with saying these things. But what your duty is always to see what the physicality tells you. There's no such thing as pulling forces. It's only a word you use to describe direction. Okay? So the whole thing is held together by word salad, imagination, axioms plucked from thin air and asserted to you and I and your children as being, factual. Which in a way, they are factual in the realms of mathematics, because again, mathematics being a formal science, it is a language. It can wander off into any, avenue it likes. What we're interested in is what physical reality shows us, regardless of man's linguistic skills. The matter, the physicality is first and foremost, the language is secondary. If you want me to accept something about my reality, and I encourage you to have the same standard, there must be practical reference. If you don't have that, you're into the realms of imagination, belief. And that's just not for me. I don't need substitutes. I do not want comfort blankets or falsities. Reality is there for you to experience it, for you to comprehend it through practical, physical interaction with it. The globular earth is nothing more than a religious symbol. It's a symbol of control because it blinds you, gives you a false foundation, plants in your mind that everything's been discovered and that there is nowhere else for you to go. So time is wasted on trying to get into the micro of stuff or imagining the macro, which is usually again in the realms of mathematics and usually utter nonsense. The reality is, none of us know the full dimensions of this place. The reality is that there is major psychological and physical restrictions in place. And that we, as a species, must explore where we think we are. Again, I've touched on this so many times before. You may think you know yourself, and you might know your character. There's only so far you can take that. If you're like me and you ask deeper, bigger questions of what life is, what I'm a part of, what is required is that we have an exploration of the external so that we can build a better understanding of where we are and what we're a part of. Right now, no human being knows exactly where they are. They have a false conception of where they think they are. They have been born into cults that are telling them what life is and what's expected of them. If you do not know where you are, what the game board is, or the rules of the game board, and in particular when you have a false notion of what you think the game board is, and you buy into, other people's narratives and stories and rules about what the game is, then you're just a delusional blind follower. Again, I'll get cult lunatics sending me videos, and I don't even want to mention these people's names. I'm sick and tired of, showing their fucking faces. This Dave, Professor Dave, or whatever the fuck his name is. People like this are so dishonest that they deserve nothing but contempt. I'm not interested in the dishonesty of these people. I'm not interested in gatekeepers, swindlers, charlatans, people who are perpetuating this circle of dichotomy, that it's a debate and there's two factions at war with each other. There is no two factions. Reality is singular. There only is one physical reality that you and I share and experience. When we get into the realms of debate, we have left physical experience. We're now in the realms of idea, mental objects. In particular, these characters usually show cartoons, straw man depictions of a flat earth, and then set about trying to deconstruct some arbitrary cartoon that came from I don't know what source, and at the same time they try and attach it to people like myself. Again, another sign of their serious dishonesty. So when I see these people and their antics, I really have nothing but contempt for them, because that's what they deserve. And you following them and listening to them are just as stupid as they are, only slightly more dumb than they are. This character in particular is rattling on about luminaries, apparent objects in the sky that you and I cannot access in 3 dimensions. Remember what I said at the beginning. If we do not have access to these things in 3 dimensions and we only perceive them through vision, there's a few things you have to consider. First and foremost, how do we take into the consideration the geometry of our vision? How do we account for that? How do we assess anything when the only thing we have access to is seeing it? What these people do is start from a presupposition. Then they set about taking observations and interpret those observations to fit their presuppositions. Again, I have to point out the obvious. When we're talking about Earth's shape, the Earth that we stand upon, there is nothing above that defines nor gives measurement of what we stand upon or the contents therein. I don't know how many times that has to be offered up to these gullible cult lunatics. It's very simple and it's been articulated to you many, many times. If you want to assert to me that something that you think you know about the visible phenomena in the sky somehow gives you tangible measurement of what you stand upon, then that's up to you. But do not keep coming at me with your presuppositions and your faulty interpretations, bias, in order to fit your presupposition. That is just lunatics. How can I even deal with somebody like that? Again, getting into the realms of formal language, it's not even logical. I consider it a red herring fallacy. And again, you have to understand what these things are and what I'm saying to you about it. Because the deception in these people and their willful participation in deception continues. And they continually use the same things over and over and over again. There is no need for anybody to stand upon a straw man, flat earth cartoon, map and model. Absolutely no reason whatsoever. There's an assertion that's been made to you since childhood. That assertion is what should be questioned. Now I can guarantee you, if you're honest and you set about applying yourself, using some of the tools and the methods that I've stated to you here, you will see very, very quickly that it is nothing more than buffoonery. You see it on your TV. You have priests and institutions waffling word salad at you, left, right and centre. And this word salad is contrary to actual physical reality. But yet you struggle. You think physical reality's somehow lying to you, and you need these super brain priests to waffle word salad at you in order to convince you to, throw away your constitution, your direct experience, because they present an image to you on a screen and they present it with authority. Are you a fucking child? I know I was supposed to this week, I'm going to start offering up short videos of, examples from physical reality to visual reality. And I'm going to mirror them next to these claims that are being made to you about where you are and what's surrounding you. But as I said at the beginning, what you will find with the globular earth concept, heliocentrism, Big Bang cosmology, is that on that scale, out with the reference frame that you exist in, it seems to be different to what your direct physical experience is. The reason they get away with that is because you do not experience this other reference frame out with reality. They play on optics continually, where they do not account, nor do they separate. In fact, they deliberately intertwine the geometry of vision with tangible, three-dimensional geometry. It's a seriously dishonest religious cult. People like myself and people that have been involved in this platform have torn it to absolute shreds over and over and over again. So I don't know what people's difficulty is. I don't know why this perpetuating debates is all about. How can I reason with you when you do not comprehend the difference between physical reality and language? What's confusing about it for you? If it's not there to be demonstrated in a practical physical fashion, what's your problem? You should know right there and then that whatever's being claimed to you is total and utter pish. Nobody experiences the Earth as a globe. The Earth's demonstrably a level plane. That's what we assume, that's what we utilise in everyday practicality. Everywhere you go. Nobody's, accounting for being on a curved surface. Absolutely nobody. What you have is people's willful participation in their beliefs. They want something to be true. And that's the difference between being a real skeptic and a real investigator. I don't want anything to be true. I just want to discover what it actually is. But these people will clutch at any old crap. What they see on their TV screen. What they're invested in. And then they'll come at you because they get insecure, because they've got invested interest, whether it be monetary or just their belief. And their ego and their pride doesn't allow for them to break away from it. So they'll keep coming at you and telling you, but I see it on my telly, I see it on my TV. The word science is brandied about left, right and centre willy-nilly. You actually have to define what you're talking about when we're talking about science. What do you mean? Because there's so many varying subdivisions under this umbrella term science. When I'm talking about it, as I said before, and I say continually, I'm talking about physicality. Where is the physicality? Where is the real stuff? Bring it to me, put it in front of me, and let me see a demonstration of what you are professing. There's no excuses. Absolutely none. As soon as excuses are made, you've got an issue. You know you're dealing with lies. Then you got all this gibberish on us. I thought you guys went to school and all that. I mean, that, again, we'll use the formal stuff, we'll use logic. That's not even logical either. It's just somebody that's trying to emotionally sway somebody that's reading that chat box. Because that's where they have people acting out of emotional fucking impulse and not applying any critical discernment or reasoning to their thought processes. So they can be swayed by fucking gullible tits like that. That's not a rebuttal to anything that I'm saying to you here this evening. As I said it so many times before, if you want me to accept your faulty, absurd, stupid worldview of a globular earth, that's up to you. I've told you my standards. I deal with the realms of physicality. So bring me the physical, show me what you're talking about. But they can't. Because again, the globular earth is a concept, not a three-dimensional, tangible object. Just because you see it on the telly doesn't mean that it's real. What people do is they see this thing on the telly and they gullibly just say to themselves, that's real, that's true. And then they'll cherry pick anything that confirms that bias. That's not reasonable. That's not sceptical. That's just a blind cult zealot. Hello, people. Tony Dixon, Beyond Belief, Antecedent, Chris Kay, Zamal, Andrew Calvert, El Hiergy, don't know, whatever that says, Rude Arthur, Paul E, Neil Williams, Trackmatic. If we see it on a TV and it's definitely a flag, exactly, Trackmatic, this is what people don't even comprehend that. Huh? Boris Chops, Dino, Sammy Shaw, Leroy Foster, World Without Curve, Guns of Navarone, TMF, Tanya, how you doing? Crystal Rod of Power, Stationary Plane, Minty text you back mate, totally forgot. Helen Degenerates, Boom Me, R Green, Where's the Hidden Hand, Casimires, how you doing? Eye Level, how you doing? Jacqua, JT the Gamer, Dorian Gray, Rude Arthur, One Man He's Detector, Parish Mike, V Thomas, Rambo, Selin Elian, Nick, 3Ann, James CT, Euclid's Bendy Water, Pure Water, DQs, Dino. You done a podcast on Twitch? I don't even know what Twitch is. I'm a caveman when it comes to all that stuff. I can't be fucking arsed. Somebody would have to invite me. Maggie M, how you doing? Kurt Cooper, Ingested Red, FPV Angel, how you doing? I seen that thing on the Diomede Islands, by the way. FPV Angel, I need to maybe try and get a catch up. As I said before, there's a couple of things that I want to run past you and ask some questions in regards to some of the work that you guys are doing. Only so that I can have an understanding of it and maybe break it down into smaller bits, so that maybe I could present some of it here. But the thing about the Diomedes was pretty interesting. I seen that. Great weather in September, aye. I'm pretty sure it's going to come to a fucking abrupt end any day now. Aye, a wee bonus. Squirrel Sniper. I will do, mate. FPV Angel, give you a shout. So anyhow, I didn't have much to say this evening. Else that puts A Beautiful Life. I want to keep reiterating this to people and ask these questions, because as I say, it's one of these things that, just like you're born into the cult that tells you everything, you hear these statements being made to you continually about life and what life is and how it's a gift and how it's precious and how it's beautiful and this, that and the other. So my question to you is what is it that you actually value about this experience? What do you place relevance and importance on about this experience? Is it just about your self-fulfillment? Just for you? Do you just selfishly you just want to express you and seek after your own pleasures and whatever else. Which again, I'm not judging, I'm not saying that's right or wrong to do so. I just asked the question. In particular, you know, as I was talking about the last time, how people take this seriously and cling to it, this experience that we call life. It's not about fucking viruses, Dino. It's not about a fucking virus. I'm not going to get into that right now. Save that for another day, but it's not about fucking wee alien body snatchers jumping from one person to another. There's a bigger fucking manoeuvre going on right now. It's got nothing to do with fucking, you know, morons running about with masks on. Absolutely fuck all to do with it. So as I say, I don't have much in the way of what I was going to talk about this evening. So if you want to join me, you can do so by sending me an email. I know that Gav was about saying that he was going to maybe join as well. So we can just take it from there. Sus. Tom Coombs or whatever your fucking name is. I don't know what you keep messaging me for, son. This is a cretin that was messaging me about this Professor Dave Gimp, and he's fucking rattling on about this, the assumptions he's made about apparent objects in the sky and how whatever. Go away, son. You're too stupid. Away and get your bias reaffirmed by morons like Professor Dave. Carry on, wee sacks. I ain't interested. What's this? Hi mate, sorry not being in touch sooner. In any case, you're wondering, relax, it's me, Smashing Boy. That name's not going away anytime soon. Thought I should finally call and say thanks for the heads up on your channel about my effect. Got a message and I hope I'd get you into too much trouble when someone found out I was watching channels like yours. What? I'm lost here. But your effect? Made a lot of sense as time has gone on, and now hopefully not too late you will see the effect of what I will do. Nothing bad, stuff for charity and yes, military, but on behalf of the individual, not the whole. Let each have their own view, then let a new whole form from that. I'm only right to ask where I can also find information about my effect and me online. I'm lost about what you're talking about. Totally lost. Sorry about that if my memory's failing me or whatever. You'll need to prod my memory so I know what you're talking about. But anyhow, getting back to it. So, for me, I think it's important that, you know, well, I'm just going to tell you what I think, you know, as I said it so many times before, this place is an abomination. It's not beautiful. It's not something that I value. I do not cling to any part of this realm, this world, whatsoever. Right? I'm here and I'm having to deal with it, and I don't give up. So that's what keeps me going. Plus, I've now got the responsibility that I have partaken in, you know, bringing other sentience into this shithole. So I continually question, and you know, these statements that are continually made about life and it being special and a gift and yada yada, this psychological attachment of placing value, relevance and importance to it really bothers me. And I would discourage anybody from clinging on to it in any way, shape or form. So I've said before, the thing that I value here is the other sentience and aspects of it. Sure, there's things here that I get thrills out of, I get enjoyment out of, and I like to experience, maybe more than once, maybe a lot of times, but at no point ever does that transcend purely that experience. I don't cling to it. When I take a look at the bigger picture and not just the culture and the hobbies or the activities that I distract myself with, this place is a total and utter fucking absurdity. Again, a video came up on my feed about fucking Komodo dragons eating a wee fucking deer alive from the arse while it fucking screams in agony. What type of mind is telling you that that's beautiful? And you hear all these fucking idiotic clowns with their phones watching it. Oh, Mother Nature, Mother Nature. It's like they're desensitising themselves and trying to convince themselves that it's beautiful, that it's something to revere and hold in high regard. I fucking detest it. There's something seriously fucking wrong with this place. Seriously fucking wrong with it. And people might have a different perception of reality and life, taking away the comforts, the privileges that they're maybe born into. Yeah, because when you come right down to the nitty gritty of this place, something has to eat something else. And it's not the prettiest of things. So, what the fuck are you doing running about? And I hope you're not telling your children that it's beautiful. Because it's fucking no. If I was to come out into the street and I was to interview you and I was to ask you to describe hell for me, you would probably not be far off describing this reality. So not only are we bewildered on the physicality of this reality, we've got psychological ideas that are fucking absolutely mind-boggling. Unless, of course, you're somebody that likes and gets a thrill out of suffering, then maybe this place is for you. But for somebody like me, I don't get a thrill out of it. I've got fucking deep concerns about what this fucking place is. And again, we formulate, contemplations on it under certain assumptions about this place being the way that it was intended to be, when we really don't know. The situation we are in right now could be a total fabrication, a total manipulation that was never intended or set out to be this way. All I know is that something's fucking wrong with it. And I will go right to the end of my life never valuing it, never placing any relevance on it. I certainly would never state it to be beautiful. I contemplated showing some of these videos, maybe just to help snap you out of your wee delusion. But I would have to give you a warning, because it's not very fucking nice to watch that stuff going on. And it's not just in the animal kingdom. Look at the way human beings behave towards each other. Look at some of the horrendous things that children have to go through. Some of the illnesses, some of the things that are going on with them. If I had my way, I would shut it down. If I could find the switch, I would turn it off. And anybody that tried to get in the way of that, I would have to ask them what their intention was. Why would you want to perpetuate this fucking shithole? What would your reason for that be? And all these statements and mantras that come out. Oh, we need to keep life. Life's precious. We need to protect. We need to preserve. You got all these fucking idiots running about the place. Oh, that's going to go extinct if we don't do something. Did you ever ask it if it wanted to keep going? Maybe it knows something you don't. But human beings operating all these mantras that have been offered to them about life. And it fucking boggles my mind. another aspect of human beings is we've got all these moral and ethical dilemmas, and where does all that come from? Because again, if you look at the natural world, there is no fucking ethics and morals. There's none. If a tiger can get a hold of a fucking newborn anything, it'll fucking eat it without batting an eyelid. Does not give one fuck whatsoever. What's going on? The other thing I wanted to share, do you ever get that notion that wherever we are in this era that we're in, this era and this area that we're in is not really that old, and what we've been witnessing for the last, century is a power grab. Dunno, just ideas. I'm not into Alan Watts looking life. It's all that fucking, oh, it's beautiful and it's wonderful and all that cack. It's fucking no. I want it out of my system, out of my consciousness altogether. Human race being isolated to this area, it might well be. There might be a bigger social engineering programme than what we realise. We know fuck all about the true chronology of our history. The sequence of events that brought us to this the position that we're in right now. How do you know that there's no different areas, different pods, whatever it may be? How do you know that you're even native to this area? Because you don't. It's just a belief. Cheers, Rob. I'm good, mate. Same to yourself. Why does water bend on a leaf? Due to surface tension. Well, that's one of the explanations here. But I hope you're not one of these people that goes, why does water bend on a leaf, like form a bead, and then try and use that to... This is the bias, this is the type of mental gymnastics I'm talking about that people go through, right? Where they'll look for a bias, so they'll say, oh, well, there's a drip on a leaf, therefore large standing bodies of water, oceans, can bend round a sphere rock and display the curvature on the surface of the water because drips. That would only have any kind of relevance if somebody was claiming that what we existed in was a drip on a leaf. But that's not what's being professed to you, is it? I don't remember anybody saying, oh, by the way, Earth's a drip on a big leaf. And it's curved due to surface tension and air pressure. I don't ever remember that. Don't know what school you went to or what culture you grew up on, but drippy leaves never came into the equation. But I see where you're going. Next you'll be telling me to watch my telly and seeing wee men in a tin can in a reference frame known as a vacuum of space playing with balls of water, and then try to tell me that that's how oceans stick and bend round rocks. That's what happens when you go and listen to guys like Professor Dave. You start coming up with idiotic shite like that. Raindrops are round. Really, it's difficult for me to fucking take that in. That after this amount of time, people are still bringing up these idiotic, stupid fucking points. Because it's a total different conditions at AZ. Now he's talking about tennis balls. For fuck's AZ, you better just fuck up, son. Because the people in the chat box are just going to rip the piss right out you. We don't live on leaves. We're no living in a raindrop. And we certainly don't live on a tennis ball. The claim is that all standing bodies of water are fucking curved. And that level means curved. Again, the difference between tangible, real reality and conceptual, language-based reality. In the language-based reality, level means a curve. In actual reality of physical substances and practicality, level means no deviation in elevation from any given starting point relative to any other point. Same elevation. Can't have that on a ball. Because as soon as you start at one point, your elevation now decreases relative to that point. Right? We wouldn't be able to construct under those conditions. Nothing would work. It's a Euclidean world you live in, whether you like it or no. Don't care what you see in your telly. Oh, gravity. Aye, that'll be the next thing. Gravity. You deny gravity? No, I don't deny that objects fall in a particular way and have a direction. But that's got nothing to do with the shape of the earth. That's just cult lunatics creating concepts based on the way objects fall and then making stupid assertions like that makes bodies of water bend and level means curved because gravity and stuffs and reasons. Don't be a fucking retard. You're just going to get laughed at here. Right. I mean, it's so easy. It doesn't matter what these globular earth people bring to you because it's bullshit. Anything that they bring to you, you're going to be able to tear it apart instantly. I say that's not because I have a bias. These are the people with a bias. I'm just applying discernment. And I have my standards of physicality. If it doesn't meet the requirements, I'm not interested in man's language and ideas and concepts. It's of no relevance to me whatsoever, and neither should it be you. If it's out with your ability to experience it directly, why are you investing any sort of fucking belief in it? Answer me, cowards, how do satellites stay up? What's your definition of a satellite? Are you defining satellites as being wee tin cans that go to this reference frame known as the vacuum, which we exist within? Now remember, this vacuum is fucking immensely large and we are but a speck of dust, and you think that this wee speck of dust can somehow cling a gas within an immense, massive vacuum? What physics class did you go to? Was it the cult physics class of word salad? Because again, the separation of the two gone to actual physical reality, it's an impossibility for those two reference frames to coexist side by side without some sort of solid membrane between them. So you ignore that. So you start from a presupposition that your absurdness is reality and then believe that you can send wee tin cans to it. And these wee tin cans, tethered by nothing, just stay in a vicinity. What a fucking moron. What a complete and utter gullible imbecile you are. The physics class that I go to is actual reality. Gorgie. Actual physical reality. You know, the reality of physical stuff that people like you hate. Because it absolutely obliterates your crazy, idiotic conceptual worldview. That's the reality. That's the physics class that I experience every single day. It's an ongoing experience. I've been experiencing it every single fucking second and minute and hour of every day since I was born. I don't know about you. You're probably way off in La La Land, ignoring physical reality. I'm going to keep telling you, the globular earth is not in the realms of physics. There's nothing about it that you can demonstrate physically, absolutely zilch. Nothing. Again, I've spoken about this before, true scale modelling. If there's an aspect of reality that is there, that is objectively there, then you can create and produce a true scale model. A smaller representation. Why are globes made of plastic? Or wood? Or seen digitally on a TV screen? That's right, because it's no reality. It's bullshit. Gravity. The wee objects fall makes magical things happen. Again, I need to, reaffirm this and keep saying it to people so that it gets into them. The word gravity is only a word used to denote the way in which objects fall. They'll never phone in, they'll never come on because they just know what's going to happen. Explain what? What's this gimp asking people to explain? Explain comets and asteroids then to me, Kivers. What have we explained to you for? What's your assertion? Are you saying that your conceptual, notion of comets and asteroids somehow defines the Earth? I mean, they don't even know how to articulate and communicate at any points. It's like they just shift the burden and just spew this stuff out and demand that you answer questions when you don't even know what you're supposed to be answering. That's fucking morons saying, comets and asteroids, explain. That's not your duty to explain anything to you, dipshit. What is your assertion? What is your claim? What is the relevance of asteroids and comets in relation to establishing the shape and dimensions of the Earth? This is what happens when you don't reason with yourself properly, when you don't think things through and you don't approach it from a position of honesty, right? You just start waffling out idiotic gibberish. It defines space, which you all try to disprove. Look, son, I can disprove the notion that we exist in a vacuum with no solid membrane between us and that vacuum. Physics will show you that if you weren't so fucking lazy and gullible, willfully ignorant. in pursuit of biases to reaffirm your conceptual idiotic worldview. So you tell us, ski on. Comets and asteroids. How does it define the Earth shape? How does it tell you anything about what the Earth is? Go. We'll give you 1 minute. That's how deep rooted it is. They've been given this full picture of their world and where they are in the universe and all that, and they just, everything in their mind's all intertwined and connected to this wee potato rock. Because they're gullible, stupid cunts. Then they come here expressing they're stupid and expect us to fix their stupid. Sam Tosh, how you doing, mate? No, nobody said no about satellites, ski on. Go and rewind it and listen to what was actually said to you. What was stated to you is, if you're asserting to me, right, or any other sane, rational person, that you're sending wee tin cans to a reference frame that is a vacuum, which encompasses us and has no solid membrane between us and that vacuum, then physics will demonstrate to you that that claim is absolutely bonkers. Don't care what you see in the telly or what you want to believe to be true. Actual physics, real reality, demonstrable, will obliterate that belief. Sorry. Circular reasoning. Satellites is real and we use satellites to produce comets and stuff. Comets is real because satellites. Satellites is real because comets. Hey, derp. How does GPS work, for fuck's sake? Oh my goodness. Not exactly pragmatic, but we'll just forget about that. That doesn't matter. Fuck it. As the Apollo astronaut stated, well, the radiation never bothered us because we didn't know it was there. So I think these are the people that started the New Age stuff. You know, all that fucking fantasy rubbish. If you can believe strongly enough that the wall does not exist, or if you don't even know that the wall exists, you shall pass right through it with no adverse effects. So it's alright. I mean, they've got it sorted. They didn't know. So, if you don't know fire burns, then it's not going to burn you, apparently. So these children, these newborns that die in fires and stuff, they must have been really clever, because they could conceptualise and know what fire was in order for it to burn them. Rickis, how you doing, mate? Could be anything going on up there. We've not had a proper investigation into it. You can use balloon technology. For all we know, there's a solid structure up there that you can attach things onto. It's anybody's guess. Until we can properly investigate, then it's just a guessing game. I read The Secret, aye. Post-it notes all over the house. Emma had post-it notes every fucking where. Still waiting my Ferrari arriving. And all the motorbikes that I requested through my catalogue of asking the universe. Asking ye shall receive. Universe doesn't like me. I'm probably going to be told that I just wasn't asking right or some shite. Exactly, pragmatic, I would say so too. Because all that stuff again is people have just overlooked. And they have all these fucking assumptions about light and what light is and TMF, nice one. I had a dream last night that I had some supercar. I was showing it off to my daughter. So maybe that's a sign that I'm going to get one. Never mind that skioing, he's a fucking imbecile. It's not even worth fucking engaging somebody like that. They're welcome, they can fucking send me an email right now and they can come in and tell me all about their fucking fantasy. And no worries, Santosh. But lo and behold, none of them ever request to join. Isn't that bizarre? They descend upon comment sections because they know I can't be fucking arsed. It's a waste of time trying to engage them in comment sections. Don't waste your time with them, people. And I just leave it all there because at the end of the day, if you're no smart enough to be able to tear it apart, then I'm not here to protect anybody. Right? I'm nobody's cult and fucking messiah and saviour. If people get involved in these comment sections and don't have the ability to fucking see through these people's gibberish, then there's an issue. You just don't get it. You don't fully comprehend this shit. So if I just leave it there and display it, it's a lesson there for you. Right? I'm telling you, you're wasting your time, particularly if you think you're ever going to get any sort of concession for any of these people, because they're faceless gimps. These are, accounts that are created deliberately in order to protect invested interests, whether it be the shape of the earth or any other, like pharmaceuticals or chemicals, anything. Right? You're always going to get this type of behaviour. And you will never get any sort of reasoned discussion with any of them. There'll never be any breakthroughs, there'll never be any agreeing on first principles or, taking responsibility for wrongs or, illogic or any of that stuff. They'll just keep bombarding and running around in circles, wasting your time. But you can use them to sharpen your skills, sharpen your tools, use them. They're useful fucking idiots in that regard. But do not think that you're ever going to convert or get any sort of admission for them. As I say, I just use them now for my entertainment. I'll just troll them whenever I feel like it, because they deserve it. These are the types of people that deserve to be trolled. Nobody's interested in the construct, Andrew. As I said before, it's like people don't really want to get this ended. See, I don't need the construct, but for the rest of the world at large, it would be useful for them, but nobody's that interested. They're all quite happy to go around in circles on YouTube.